Happy Purim. Good friend of mine, big supporter of Israel, shocked me with a perspective that I want to address. He said to me, look at what's going on in America. If you look at the young people, the wokeness that has taken over the college campuses, etc., these people are going to be 50% of the population soon. They're going to be in charge and running things. You're going to have a president out of the squad kind of people, and we're going to be in big trouble. And therefore, he thinks to take away any argument they could have against us, should agree, Israel should agree to Palestinian state, and then if they try to attack us anyway, now we have the moral high ground. They won't be able to argue it's because we haven't given them a state. Now, I'd like to argue against that for two reasons. One is practical, and one is spiritual. Practically speaking, it absolutely makes no difference. Number one, every time we have given something, our situation in the world perspective has gotten worse. Think about how we were viewed in the world after 67, after 73, after Entebbe, before Camp David. The way the world viewed us with much more sympathy and much more pro-Israel. Every time we've given in, it's made our position worse. So whether it be Camp David, whether it be Oslo, whether it be disengagement from Gaza, just take this. After October 7th, we thought, okay, now the world's going to be behind us. They understand. Took 2.5 minutes, and they're gone. Everyone is attacking us. I saw Cameron, the foreign minister of England, he's from, so to speak, the right side of politics there, is saying to Israel, if you don't allow the Red Cross to see the prisoners, which we've stopped because until they're able to see the hostages, to see the prisoners, terrorists, we're going to stop arms sales to you, and we're going to make sure all of Europe stops the arms sales to you. Mind-boggling. Just one of many, 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 many. And after we experienced October 7th, it just boggles the mind. So doing anything like that would not make us in any way better in the eyes of the world. It's absolutely not true. And now for the spiritual reason. Coming as we have the Yom Tov of Purim. The Talmud asks the following question. Why was it that the Jewish people deserved to have a decree of annihilation? Talmud answers, because they benefited from the meal of Achashverosh. What are you talking about? It's not about kosher, because we know that the meal of Achashverosh, there was a kosher section. There was a kosher opportunity. Anyone who wanted kosher had kosher. Mordechai made sure that they would have kosher. So what was it? And even if it wasn't kosher, that's not the reason for annihilation. So what does it mean that we had that decree came upon us because we benefited from Achashverosh's meal? So historically, the meal of Achashverosh, the party that he threw at the beginning of the Megillah, was actually a party to celebrate the destruction of the temple, and in his mind, it was a permanent destruction, because there was a prophecy that after 70 years, the temple will be rebuilt, prophecy of Jeremiah. In his calculation, based on when he was calculating from, it was 70 years already, and therefore the fact that the temple was not rebuilt meant that indeed the conquest is final and for forevermore. And so he came to the party wearing the high priest's garments, the breastplate with the gems. He took the vessels out of the temple, used it as serving dishes, as goblets, as things to drink wine from. And in that environment, Mordechai begged the people not to go, and 18,500 people from Shushan said, well, look, the king, they're accepting us. We have a good financial situation here. We're not really being discriminated against. Of course we're going to go to the king's party, even though the whole party was a celebration of the Jewish people's subjugation. So, even then, does that deserve such a decree? The Rebbe explains it like this, based on the Rambam. The Rambam says that when we put our faith in anything but Hashem, then Hashem says, okay, let's see what happens. In other words, there's a medrash. Medrash says that the Jewish people are a sheep among 70 wolves, but great is the shepherd who guards them. When we acknowledge the wolves as the source of our protection, when we think it's America protecting us, Europe protecting us, etc., then Hashem says, okay, fine, let's see. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try to be nice to America, to Europe, etc., and try to buy arms from them and try to get them to support us. Of course we should. There's the concept that Hashem will bless you in everything you do. We have to do things naturally. But when we do things naturally, we're not meant to do things in a way that counters and is a contradiction to Hashem's protection. Hashem's protection comes through natural means, but the natural means cannot be a contradiction to Hashem's protection. The same thing is, for example, in business. We cannot desecrate Shabbos or whatever to make money, because we have to do things naturally, because Hashem is the one who gives us our business, and He says, do it naturally. But the same one who tells us to do it naturally tells us not to do it on Shabbos, or not to steal, and so on. As a people, the same thing. We have to recognize and realize that we have a shepherd. Our shepherd is the one who protects us. That's Hashem. Then we have to try to do things naturally. We have to buy arms from this one and buy arms from that one. And if we have to speak diplomatically with the President of the United States, etc., in order to get them to sell us more, by all means. But we cannot endanger our security based on the fact, because that's what the President of the United States is telling us. That is basically saying we're not relying on the protection of the shepherd, we're relying on the protection of the wolf. And you know what? If you rely on the wolf, you'll have the wolf, right? That the wolf is the one, not in sheep's clothing, not in a kind person's clothing. The wolf will show his true colors, like he's showing now, like the whole world is showing now. And so when we're seeing what's going on in the entire world, showing that they are 70 wolves, we have to put our trust in Hashem, who is our shepherd. And Hashem tells us, through Shulchan Aruch, through Halacha, and through the guidance of great tzaddikim like the Rebbe, who told us that the security of Israel is dependent on doing things by ourselves and not endangering ourselves by giving up strategic areas that can be used as a staging ground for October 7th. We cannot give away parts of Israel that will then become a staging ground, because our shepherd told us not to. And we're doing it in order to find favor in the eyes of the wolves. The wolves are going to be wolves. Then they're not going to be there for us. And as they say, live by the wolf, die by the wolf. If we live by the wolf, if we put our full trust in the wolf, then the consequence are October 7th, because we're relying on the wolf, not on the shepherd. So the story of Purim teaches us we have a great shepherd. And as when this Purim happened, immediately thereafter, the Jews committed to Hashem. They all gathered together. They realized where our protection comes from. All the Jewish people, in unison, realized where our protection comes from, turned to Hashem, and Hashem then made a miraculous, through nature, miracle where we were saved as a people. And that's what He will do today as well. Thank God, the leadership right now in Israel, it seems like, are standing strong, at least that's what they're saying, standing strong against the wolves. In this case, President of the United States and Europeans and the UN, and are doing that which we know we need to do by ourselves to have the protection for our people. If we keep going in that way, there's no doubt, there's no question, we will be protected. Hashem will protect us. No doubt and no question. If we give in to the pressure of the wolf, we'll be reliant on the wolf, and the wolf will do what wolves do. Happy Purim.